Okay, so we are going to jump into this. I'm real excited to share this with you. I'm going to do a quick introductory. I'm going to blast through it as quick as I can to get you started as fast as possible. Because remember that success always favors motion and movement. But it's not just busy work and things like that. Correct steps are absolutely essential. And so doing things in the right way are really powerful. And whenever I've hired a mentor or taken a really high quality class to boost skills and things like that, often the first thing that they always address is mindset. And I've always been a very big proponent of mindset, and it's what I used to really start all of my clients with too. But this is replacing all of that. This will be the major mindset piece because once you are aligned with your purpose and you have that idea fully ingrained in the body. All you have to do is tap into the purpose, and your mindset will all fall into place, and all of the correct actions will happen. And you won't need anything like motivation and pep talks and willpower and things like that. Because when you're tapped into your purpose and you're aligned with it, you will move and you will stop at no cost. And so we're going to get right into this. So today, it's not going to just be a quick introduction, but it's going to be actual work so that you can go and put this to work for yourself and get it started. I broke this up into 6 modules. And I did that because I want you to take your time with each module and go through all the steps and do it as fully as you possibly can. That's where it will make the most impact for you. And so the thing about purpose is it's already inside, and you just have to really clarify and discover what it is and how you're going to refine the idea of your purpose so that it invigorates you and has you really moving forward with a lot of momentum, unstoppable. So by the end of this masterclass, you'll have discovered your power source purpose that you can tap into anytime. I'm going to show you how to align with it, how to ingrain with it so that you can tap into it like a switch anytime that you need momentum and movement to happen. Even when you're not feeling well or things are a struggle or challenges pop up in life, you'll be able to tap into your purpose and it will get you moving forward with focus and direction in a positive direction. So before we start the workshop, a couple of things that I want to mention is that it's a really good idea to journal your answers and your experiences throughout this whole masterclass. Get an actual notebook and use it to write with your own pencil or pen and write your answers to the questions, write your experiences down. Something happens when you write that's very different than if you just think or even if you type into a Word document. When you write, it does something different. It brings out different experiences and memories. It attaches to different emotions. So you just have a lot more access. And when we're talking about tapping into our purpose, it will also help you access it much easier because you've been writing and it just helps with that clarity and that focus. I also tell people that doing this work, if you want the most out of it, that it requires absolute honesty with yourself. You have to look into dark spaces when we're doing like the pained purpose, bridges, and things like that later on in this masterclass. You don't have to share with others those dark things, but the vulnerability for yourself, you have to open up and you have to be absolutely honest. And I invite you just to ask a few questions and write down the answers that come up for you. What's your personal intention for discovering this power source that's already within you? What does success look like for you today? Because it might look different by the end of this masterclass, or you might really reinforce what that definition of success looks like by the end of this masterclass. What would make this the most valuable experience you've had in a long time? Start anticipating that something really special is about to happen. And just get an idea what would make this the most valuable experience. Write down your answers. What would having access to this power source do for you specifically? If you had just constant access anytime. And how would discovering your true purpose affect the important people in your life? Take a moment and read through each of those questions, pause the video, get out a book or a piece of paper, write down your answers for those. That's really, really powerful to do. So here's what most people miss. Your purpose isn't just a nice idea or a goal to aim for. Nice ideas are just nice ideas, and goals are only goals. Authentic purpose is your personal power plant. It's like a mega nuclear reactor inside you that generates all of your energy and your motivation and unstoppable momentum. It's when things get tough why you still keep going. And if you don't keep going, it's because you're not tapped into your life's purpose and you don't have good clarity or understanding of it. But every time you've accomplished something meaningful in your life, this power source is active. Every time you've pushed through when everything seemed impossible and it was just a struggle and all the challenges were stacking up, this energy is what was flowing. So today the goal is to identify it, to understand it, and then by the end of this masterclass, it won't be today, but by the end of it, you'll learn how to access it on demand. So the first exercise is the identity evolution milestones. So the setup for this is to get a piece of paper. You can use your journal that you're doing in, get a fresh piece of paper, turn the page, and you're going to draw a timeline from now all the way back to your birth. And you can mark it by age, birth, and whatever age you are now. And then you're going to identify major identity shifts throughout that timeline. Like, what was your first identity and roughly what age were you at? So sometimes it's helpful to go backwards. If you think of your identity now, how would you label that identity? Is it a helper? Is it a worker? Is it a parent? Is it a giver, a healer, whatever it could possibly be? And then what was the identity before that? Label the rough age that that identity occurred. Often these occur every 5 to 7 years. We have a shift of identity and transformation into something that we've grown into. And so all the way back from the time that you are born, your first identity, Then, as you've grown up and learned some things and gotten some wisdom and experiences, the next identity, and then maybe one in your teens, one in your 20s, and on and on. And just label throughout the timeline the different ages and the different identities. Then we're going to start journaling and talking about each of these different identities as you've transformed through your timeline. So you can either work backwards or forwards, or you can pick the most powerful identity in there. Start with whichever one. You don't have to go in order, but do this for each core identity that you have discovered and labeled, and ask each of these questions for each identity. So this is going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of work, but it's really valuable to go back and look at each one of these core identities that you've labeled. What's energizing about that identity? What felt powerful about being this version of yourself? Looking at experiences. What experiences made you feel most alive and powerful? When did you feel like you could take on the world? So go through and develop that timeline. And then once that's all done, you're going to look at your power pattern questions and just look through and notice any particular patterns that were present in each of those transformations, in each of those different identities. And just look for things that are congruent throughout each of those identities in each phase of your life. And then identify which one was the strongest and what was powering you. And what's always been the source of motivation, even when things were difficult. A lot of times, these core identities that you've just labeled in your timeline have something to do with struggles and challenges. Often those are the catalysts for each of our transformations, because a lot of times when things are going well and we're relaxed, then there's no need to change. So a lot of times those changes come with difficulties and circumstances. So just go through and analyze it a little bit, answer each of those questions, put your answers in your journal, and have them concrete down on paper so that they're easily accessible and they're established, and that will help you understand what's in there. I did put an example in here for you to go and look at a timeline example, and so you can study that. That'll help you develop your own. And then we're going to take time, once all of these answers are down and your timeline is finished, to look at your timeline. Go back, flip back from the answers and look at the actual timeline now, and feel any consistency that's in it that connects each of those transformations, each of those phases of life. And that you recognize in there that is present in all of those different phases is going to be part of your personal power signature that's attached to your purpose somehow. And that's what we're going to be discovering throughout this workshop. So there's always been a consistent power source that's driving you and helping you grow and helping you transform and get through life. Whether it's good or bad, it's always there. And this is what we're looking to unlock. So you're literally building a foundation. You've identified a power pattern by the end of this exercise. And the big key here is to understand that this isn't just information. This is actual purpose. And purpose is what can really bring you alive. It is what can help create mega drive in your life. And when you are able to tie into that purpose, it's really incredibly powerful. So literally that's it. That's this video. I told you I was going to make it as fast as possible, but I want you to go back and take your time. Create your timeline, go through each of those, look at each of those phases, answer the questions for each of those phases, and then look for all those patterns. And then just look at the timeline and notice anything else extra that you can notice about those specific phases and the things that are the same no matter what through those phases. We're going to dig deeper and deeper into peak power moments throughout your life, and the times when your energy and your momentum and your power was flowing really strongly and you felt unstoppable. We're also going to look at your struggles, and that's going to be in the next module, and how those struggles actually reveal a lot of your strength. And we can look at those struggles and recognize those strengths and begin to discover our purpose by doing exercises like that. So that's what's coming up in the next module. Meanwhile, don't go to the next module without doing this first really important foundational exercise of the timeline. And I'll see you in module 2.